What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Texas, 2022. Caysen Allison kills Joe Ramirez Jr. in the bathroom at his high school. He's been out on bail since the incident. And right now, there's a spotlight on Texas for another teen killing, two 17-year-olds, involving Karmelo Anthony. That case is getting a lot of press. When I found out a couple hours ago about this Caysen Allison case, there was a verdict today. We're going to get to that in a second. I looked it up, and not surprisingly, when I punched in the name Caysen Allison, what popped up was a picture of Karmelo Anthony and a description of that case. So let's just get a little backstory, the little bit that I know. And let's be perfectly clear here. This case happened again in Texas in 2022. I first heard about it, I think it was 4 days ago, and I did a video right after that on my WS World channel, I believe. I don't know which channel I'm going to put this on, probably WS World again. But I pretty much had an idea of where I thought it was going to go. But I'm from California. I'm not from Texas. And I can tell you that I think this, well, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's just go through a little bit of the case. So, Caysen Allison and Joe Ramirez knew each other from school. Through testimony of one of Caysen's friends, it was said that Caysen wanted a gun. They had gotten, Caysen and Joe had gotten into an argument during prom, apparently prom party or something. And Caysen wanted a gun. He didn't get one. And then apparently Caysen and Joe were supposed to fight. They had talked about fighting. It wasn't a scheduled fight. Caysen and his friend went into the bathroom, and there was Joe and several of his friends. And it's all on cell phone. On the cell phone footage, Joe Ramirez punches Caysen Allison. And his friend tried to get in, and Joe Ramirez's friend punched him or separated him. And next thing you know, Joe Ramirez is full of holes. Caysen Allison had pulled out a knife and stabbed him and slashed him in his chest and his arms. Joe Ramirez exited the bathroom, walked a ways down the school hallway, and then collapsed from his injuries. Through testimony of Joe Ramirez's girlfriend, who was also a friend of Caysen's, she stated that Caysen had told her that he wanted to see Joe Ramirez in the ICU, that he wanted to stomp his brains out, that he wanted to see his jaw dangling from his face. So when you hear Caysen Allison's own friend saying that Caysen wanted to get a gun to get Joe, and when you hear the testimony of Joe Ramirez's girlfriend saying that Caysen wanted to do serious bodily harm to Joe Ramirez, you would assume that this case would be a slam dunk for the state. Today, Caysen Allison was found not guilty of murder. I believe his charge, he's going to be found guilty of some kind of negligent homicide, and he's looking at up to a $10,000 fine, several months, up to 2 years of confinement in prison. I don't know for sure, but that's what's being reported. We'll see what's done at sentencing. And I can tell you that's pretty mind-boggling. Those that are trying to compare this case with the Karmelo Anthony case, I don't know that anybody should be happy on either side. I don't know that anyone should look into this either way. I know that there are a lot of people that want to make all of this racial. You know, there were people in my comments that were telling me that Mexicans are cowards because the Mexican content creators didn't say anything, that we were afraid of white people. And I don't understand the victim mentality. I don't understand how these people wake up every day thinking the whole world is against them. And by these people, I'm not meaning a specific ethnicity. I'm saying anyone who has that mindset. The world is out to get them. To say that Mexican content creators are cowards because a case occurred that the vast majority of us had never heard about and we didn't speak on it. I spoke on it the other day when somebody brought it to my attention. And I know how bad some people want to make this a race issue. And so let's rewind this a little bit. I just told you guys, those of you that want to make this a race issue, I told you the testimony of Caysen's friend. Not once was there a racial slur used when he was repeating what his friend said. I told you guys what, so far as being reported, what Joe's girlfriend said, Caysen said. Obviously, Caysen hated him. I would assume it had something to do with a girl or a perceived slight, or there was just mutual distaste for each other. But I don't see that as a racial attack, a racial murder. But to me, it is a murder. In California, that would have been a conviction for murder. Texas is obviously a different animal. I don't, it should worry. I believe it's the Metcalf family and the Anthony family. This verdict should very, very much worry both families. Karmelo's family should be worried that people are going to feel like justice wasn't done in this case with Joe Ramirez's death or his murder. And a jury can be tainted that way. Same goes for the other. For the victim of Karmelo Anthony, people could feel a certain way. In this case, there's no justice in this case for the Ramirez family. And in the Karmelo Anthony case, there probably won't be either. And I say it's a sad state of affairs when people want to make senseless murder into racially motivated attacks, assaults, and murders. I don't believe either one of these cases was racially motivated. And yet all we hear about is race and how this isn't being applied equally and that's not being applied equally. Again, Texas is a complete different animal. Caysen Allison and Karmelo Anthony, neither one of them would have got bail in California. Neither one of them. They'd be sitting in the county jail. Carmelo would be in a juvenile hall somewhere until he's 18 and then sent right over to the county jail and be caught up in the reindeer games that we have in all jails in California, in all prisons. My condolences to the Ramirez family. I don't know how that was deemed self-defense. But I know for a fact that there will be new arguments in court. There will be new filings in court. And in those filings and arguments, the case of Caysen Allison will be cited. It's case law now. And it will probably help in certain ways Karmelo Anthony in his case. But like I said, when we have people stoking the flames of racism, claiming racism and prejudice in every corner, in every shadow, you're not the ones that are in Texas and going to be on that jury. If people want to see a fair trial on that Karmelo Anthony case, they should stop talking about race. These are two young men. They both made bad decisions that day. One person's bad decision led to his death. The other person's bad decision may lead to his incarceration for life or may not. That's my video for today, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out of here.